Just drink. I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. As always, I am joined by my buddy Andres. Unfortunately, Nancy's feeling a little bit under the weather today, but in her place, we've got a wonderful guest, and that is Jen Kempe, everybody. The lovely, lovely Jen Kempe, or Jen... I was about to try to pronounce your last name again.
Work in progress, yeah.
Okay, it's a work in progress? Okay.
Yeah, once we hit May, I have a lot of flights booked for work, so once we hit my last flight in May, then I can do the paperwork, because I don't want to get stuck at TSA, so.
I didn't mean to bring up a sore subject.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. She's like,
we're on roll right now, guys.
I'm working on it. Oh my God. But anyway, it's wonderful to have her on the show. And this is always a fun episode that I enjoy doing every year, which is the post-Oscars episode, where we break down what we thought about the ceremony, the overall, vibe of the ceremony, the winners, the losers, what we think could have been improved, what our favorite bits were. So we're going to be jumping into that today. And of course, we're going to be talking about the new Bong Joon-ho movie, Mickey 17, starring Robert Pattinson. So that's very exciting. So without further ado, let's jump into today's lovely show and let's talk about the Oscars. What did we think generally? Like, what were our feelings on it?
I'll go first. So essentially, I mean, I thought the show was pretty entertaining from start to finish, or at least from where we got to in the ceremony, because we were watching it live on Hulu, and then as infamously
all right, that crashed, right?
No, it cut.
Oh, it just cut?
Yeah.
They did not account for enough time, which is mind-boggling at this point. How, because everyone's like, every streaming service at this point has done some kind of sports event. Yeah. And that is like the number one joke about the Oscars, is that it always goes over. So it's like, wouldn't you account for like an extra hour just to keep the stream alive? But
I will blame
Adrian Brody.
I blame primarily Adrian Brody, but I also primarily blame Brody. The best song winner, who just started singing.
Oh God, that was painful. I'm not gonna lie.
It was, oh my goodness, like every single time something won that we weren't necessarily rooting for, we were like, yeah, I bet all these people that rooted for that are all regretting that win now.
Yeah.
They're like watching the speech, there's like, fuck. It's like, this is embarrassing.
That woman has no self-awareness at all. I was like, cringe fears this woman. She cannot read a room, illiterate in terms of seeing other people's reactions.
She also could not write a song either.
She couldn't write a song because that's from West Side Story, goddammit. And I'm not gonna stop wrenching it because I love West Side Story, and that wasn't even the song that won. So she's embarrassed of the song that actually did win. So that's very interesting. But yeah, that is the low point of the ceremony right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, both the fact that won and the speech following it. Because like there were so many times during the night where I'm like, well, this isn't the one I wanted to win, but the speech was great, so I'm fine with it. Yeah, I'm like, you use your moment.
Primarily Sean Baker more than anything else.
He had great speeches. Yeah.
I particularly like the editing one. I know everyone wants to talk about the go to the theater, keep it in the theater kind of thing. But the editing one of I saved this in the edit, like that was funny.
That was funny, but I would also agree that with a movie that is primarily 90% improv,
yes,
that movie was absolutely saved in the edit. Yes. And I do buy it getting the best editing Oscar, but I don't necessarily agree with best screenplay. If you've read that, here's the thing. Every year, I do actually go out and try to read all the stuff that's nominated for best screenplay and stuff like that.
Nerd.
I'm such a nerd.
Also, if your background doesn't give that away, I mean,
yeah, it's a little bit.
right. Yeah, you married this.
I did, but see, at the same time, I have the receipts of we did the Oscar ballots and I won.
Oh, so she won by a landslide.
I did.
Yeah, there were a couple upsets in my pool, but I tied for first.
What was your number in the end? You know.
I think I got 18 out of 23.
I got 19. 19.
Yeah, I will say I got screwed by animation. That's for sure.
Were you on Wild Robot Train?
Yeah, because it was a heavy favorite for a while.
Yeah, it is a great film. But we finally sat down and watched Flow and totally deserved. So yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lovely film, but fuck my palate.
Yeah. I highly recommend it.
Oh, it's if you have or ever had a pet, sit down and watch it. It's great. It's so good. It's really good. But yeah, no, as most Oscar ballots are won, I won it in the shorts area where most people have not watched the shorts this year. I've gone out of my way sometimes to see the shorts, but I didn't at all this year. So completely you have to go by name. And I was like, okay, this is the most pretentious name. This one is in the B slot, and it worked. So
wow,
you have to think about what the Oscar vote is going to do, because clearly by looking at the anonymous ballots, they don't watch them either.
Yeah.
So, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
because sometimes some of
I'm
them
a realist. So yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any like fun surprises in terms of like the winners that were like, oh, that's great. I didn't expect that to win, but that's awesome.
Honestly, probably the biggest ones for me that were still like a shock were a lot of the ones that Honora won, really, like,
honestly, yeah, like leading up until like the week before, I was like pretty much reserved to the Brutalist winning. I had it down. I was like, all right, it's probably gonna be the Brutalist and for director as well. So that's where I lost some points there, because I am happy that Honora won. I actually prefer that winning over the Brutalist, because I loved the first half and had problems with the second. But I really thought until that last week, and at the last when I'm filling up my bottle, I was like, it could happen. It could. But then at the same time, I remembered when we walked out of the theater for Honora, I was like, that was great, but there's no way it's going to win anything. And I was like, all right, so I'm an idiot, so I have to like say that I did that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I did not expect that movie to out of nowhere just become like the favorite for Best Picture. That was wild to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the movie, but I was like you. I walked out, I was like, that was a really fun movie and I enjoyed it, but like I can't see this like winning anything.
Yeah, there was so much more humor than I expected. Just from like the general knowledge of what it's about, I was like, oh, that's gonna be pretty tragic. And like his backstory, like Sean Baker's work in general, tends to be a little devastating, which this was also a little devastating, but there was some funny shit in there.
Oh my god, really. So many. I will say unintentionally funny, but I think it's very much intentional though. It's humor that you're not expecting coming from the situation in particular. Like I remember I was telling the story to my sister-in-law, and I'm like, as I'm speaking, I'm like, this does not sound funny at all. And then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, it's kind of one of those where you need to, sort of watch it in particular to sort of understand what that humor is. It's a fine line, but yeah, it's one of those where it's so many of the Honora wins were definitely, unexpected, but I would say deserved to a certain extent. Except for screenplay, unfortunately, because the substance was an option. Like that script is so great.
Which one?
And it's just unfortunate.
Substance.
That we can't.
Oh, Substance.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm glad Substance was like, at least it won. And it
for
was
makeup.
Something.
Yeah. If it didn't win makeup, that was going to be ridiculous.
Yes. Like it was between that and Nosferatu. I'm like, if it doesn't go to one of them, I don't know what we're doing anymore. So yeah, it was great to see that. But I was Team Demi. Like
Same.
All praise to Mikey Madison. She looked gorgeous and she did a great job and she did good, composed herself in the speech. But yeah, it's unfortunate because they even they got the camera right on Demi. Like you can see the flash, and the people have slowed it down to like the Ralph Wiggum. Like you can see the moment where her heart breaks. But she does a good job of like keeping it composed. And she's got Pilaf the dog at the end of the day, so she really won.
Oh yeah.
But no, she had a hell of a run and it was fantastic. So, but I understand it. Like when Honora was cleaning up on every other category, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. That's why I knew my choice for that category was not going to be right, because I had Demi all the way. Yeah. Like I knew it was going to be a toss up between the two of them, but I was like, I don't know. I feel like this could be Demi's year. Like this is it. And so I was definitely heartbroken when she didn't win too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially with the fact that, like, even though I do like Mikey Madison's performance in the movie, would I be the first to call it Oscar material? I don't necessarily know right off the bat, but I will say Demi, the second I came out of that movie, I was like, that is probably the best she has ever been. And it's also
the meatiest role she's ever been given as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's also the one where I truly feel like she had a lot of moments to really sort of get into that material and really play with it. Like still to this day, probably my favorite thing is her making the food.
He puts that scene on for no reason every once in a while to watch that. But no, as a woman, and I love that it's a testament to how powerful the scene was. They had one of the many actors on actors tables with her and like all the other nominees. And I forget who it was in particular that pointed out, but they pointed out the scene where she's getting ready and she just can't seem to get it right and just completely has a meltdown. It's like, we've all had that at some point, and I feel seen. It was really good. I really love that scene. That was the moment I was like, oh, she's so good. I love her so much. And it still hurts me that Margaret Qualley wasn't nominated because she's as important in that movie.
Yes.
And she does a fantastic job. But then she got to dance. That was so great.
She got to do the Bond thing.
She got to do the Bond thing. It was completely egregious that it's in there at all. But that was such a great moment because I love the reactions on Twitter of, oh, so she's the new James Bond. I'm like, I'm fine with it. Go ahead. But no, she looks fantastic. So, yeah.
But yeah, speaking of that Bond thing, did you guys find it just bizarre? Like it felt like very out of nowhere. And then if you're going to bring back all these songs, at least try to get some of the people who originally sang them to sing them. So like, it just felt so bizarre.
The Skyfall one was really
They were all a little rough, honestly.
Yeah.
They were a little rough.
But the Skyfall one was
Skyfall in particular,
off key.
Her voice is not
when it's anyone
song.
But Adele, like come on.
No, it was unfortunate. And it was kind of weird because like obviously the Oscar people, they wouldn't know that was happening, but at the same time it's like it's kind of like an in memoriam for the Bond franchise now that it is kind of moved on to Amazon and everything. So it's like you're not going to see anything like this in a while.
Yeah.
So it was a little unfortunate to see those 3 song performances not quite hit, and then for us have to lose seeing the end. I'm like, that was a huge time suck, honestly. Each song did multiple verses. I'm like, dude, medley.
Get rid of them.
Tighten it up. So yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, that would probably be one of the more lower aspects of the performances of the night. But I actually really liked Queen Latifah's rendition of The Wiz at the very end.
That was
tribute
fantastic.
to Quincy Jones.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
That made total sense, and it had the room was going. Coleman Domingo's up front.
Yeah.
I love the little behind the scenes clip someone got of in between during a commercial break of he just like fuck it, and he went up on the stage and it was like, let's go, keep the energy up. So I think you can attribute a lot of the energy in the room to him because he's like, he kind of knows, unfortunately, he's like, I know I'm not gonna win, but I'm gonna have the time of my life up here. It's great. So I was happy to see him having fun, having a good night. What else? Yeah, Conan.
Oh yeah.
Conan should host everything for all time.
Conan was fantastic.
He is so great at what he does. He is like to a T is the best person at like self-hatred that makes it work. Because like he loves to play like the lovable buffoon, but he's such a smart guy too. At the same time, he's like, I know what works. Like I've been watching the Conan O'Brien Must Go a little bit, and he's just so good on the fly. But he had a lot of great jokes. I love the nod to the firefighters from LA.
That was great.
That was a great little bit. The Joker 2 line was fantastic.
That was so funny.
One of my stupid like I don't even know. Might not have even been his joke. But whoever did it understands his sensibility because Conan laughed at how stupid it was of the Miles Teller and Miley Cyrus being kilometers and kilometry. Fantastic joke. It's so stupid that it works.
You could even also see Miles Teller and Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, they were like, I never thought about it, but yeah.
They're just like, wait, what?
Because they were probably confused. It's like, why are we both here? Like, this is a weird matchup. Yeah. In terms of like presenters, that one stood out because it was a good joke. I love Ben Stiller. I loved the fact that like they were playing fast and loose with a lot of the format because they had to kind of backtrack on. They originally said we're going to do the thing where we have past winners announce the why each actor and actress is getting. Which is smart because no one wants to do it for us. But I love that they were like, let's keep it, but do it for the behind the scenes people. And I was like, that's fantastic because it's putting these presences that you know and talking about how wonderful and how hardworking these people are. I love that aspect. I hope they keep doing it.
Yeah, I think that really worked this year too. And in terms of also keeping the flow and keeping a rapport between the nominees and the presenters on stage as well. I thought honestly, this year didn't feel like it didn't feel the only parts that felt rough were the acceptance speeches, and some of
which they can't control that. They can't.
Yeah. But I was pissed that a couple people got it cut before they even got to the mic. You know, I was like, that was messed up.
What was it? The
Dune
one
people.
of the sound for Dune. Like the third guy didn't even get to speak. And it's like, yes, I know there's a microphone behind stage and they have as much time as they want. They can do whatever. But it's like, this is his moment to show that he worked this hard for his whole career.
Yeah.
And you don't get a lot of shots like that for those kind of people. So it's unfortunate and it was rude. And I love that someone pointed out that was actually Miley Cyrus' thing. She looked pissed.
Yeah.
She looked like she was ready to fight for somebody. She was like, I don't even know this guy, but that was rude. So, but I think honestly, other than the Amelia Perez song person, Adrian Brody's speech.
Oh God.
I've never been a big fan of Adrian Brody. I wasn't rooting for him to win. I did think it was very possible. I might have actually picked him. Did I? Yes. Yes, I did. I did pick him.
I did pick him.
Begrudgingly, I picked him. I got the point for it. But between the throwing of the gum,
that was bizarre, dude.
The complete lack of preparation, considering he was the heavy favorite, and it's not like this is the first speech he's had to give this whole award season.
Yeah,
like that's happened before, where people get to them, it's like you already heard everything I have to say, but it's like you still prepare something when you think you're going to win, and then for him to say when they're trying to play him off of like, I've been here before, this isn't my first rodeo, when all the other nominees were first timers. And I'm like, that's kind of rude. I know he probably didn't mean it that way, but it was being really rude.
No, he made, I mean, like, to a certain extent, that part of the ceremony is about the winner, but he sort of made it more about himself.
It was all about himself.
He made the entire show more about him or anything else. Like saying, like, you know what, I deserve more time because I'm the best actor. And it's like,
whenever someone requests more time, as long as they have something to say, I'm fine with it. But he had nothing to say.
I mean, well, here's the thing. Kieran Culkin did the same exact thing.
I know, but that was funny.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He sped it up and he was concise.
Yes.
He was like, okay, I got a quick story to tell you. And then the punchline was so worth it.
I know it's been like controversial now. People were like, oh, he's like controlling his wife. It's like, it's a joke. Calm down.
Yeah.
But it was just, if you have to say I'll be brief more than 3 times during your speech, that means something went wrong.
I'll be brief. I'll be brief. Yeah. I'll be brief.
They should have just cut him off.
And his wife had to like shout out like someone he forgot. I'm like, what are we doing, guys? Like that was the sloppiest.
I think it holds the record now for longest Oscar speech.
Yeah, it was like 5 and 28 seconds or something like that. 5 minutes, 28 seconds, something like that.
Something ridiculous.
But yeah, that was it was especially unfortunate for all of the Hulu streamers because like that was like the last thing you saw.
Boom. Sorry, the show's over.
So it's like, what? So we had to watch Mikey Madison and Nora win on Twitter refreshing. I was like, all right, thank you, Twitter Brazil. You're always the first to announce shit. So
oh my God. Yeah, but
we also struggled with the stream in general. Because we were having trouble. We were logged in. Like
this feels like it's just like a venting session about Hulu.
Yes. Hulu, get your shit together. Because we were logged in for like the pre-show because we knew it was coming. And the pre-show doesn't automatically roll into the real show. It goes to news. And I'm like, dude, it has totally started. And we're on like ABC News for no reason. So we had to log out and try to log back in. Couldn't do it on the TV. We had to do it on my phone. So we literally have the phone like this between us watching. And it's all bip, 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 bip. And the minute that Ariana Grande didn't officially win, then it got easier because all the fans logged off. So it was a lot easier. And that was very apparent that that's what happened on our side. So.
The stream got so much clearer on your phone.
I was like, after that.
I was like, why don't we just try logging in? And then
it was good.
It was fine.
Until it just decided we're done.
Yeah. Again, I blame Adrian Brody for that.
Adrian Brody's fault.
Guys should just use YouTube TV. I had no problems.
Well, we
don't have YouTube. We have every other streaming service right now. We don't need to do that too.
But the big question I have for everybody, and I already know your answer. So, what would you say is your biggest snub of the entire year? Tom, you go first.
For what? For like Oscar nominations? You're saying
any general thing?
Yeah, like any general thing in terms of Oscar nominations.
Should have won. Whether it not be nominated or not.
No. Just even nominated. Just like, what do you think is the biggest snub?
Ooh, I mean, for me, the one that I just keep getting frustrated with is no director nom for Denis Villeneuve.
Yep.
I feel like this is like the second time he's been like just completely excised from the Oscars, but yet like his movies they always get nominated for all these different awards. It's like, what did you think? Like, who do you think was at the helm here? You know, like this movie wouldn't be what it is. Both of these Dune movies wouldn't be what they are without him. And it's very apparent in every acceptance speech, that they won. It was a huge thing to like thank Denis and bring him up because he's the big artist when it comes to this film. Yes, there's a huge, amazing team, but he's at the forefront and this is his creative vision. So I don't know, it bugs me. How about you guys?
It's probably also really telling that Warner Brothers did shift Dune Messiah to come out in November of 2026. So I think it's more present in everybody's eyes when it comes forward.
It's very unfortunate, honestly, because this very much Dune should have been nominated in every category across the board, and it should have won Best Picture, it should have won Best Director for me. Timothy should have been nominated for Dune, not for A Complete Unknown. I know he did a lot of damn work to do Bob Dylan, but the performance in Dune, just for the speech alone, is so good. But yeah, it was shortchanged, and it's unfortunate because it's clear that Academy voters were like, let's do the Return of the King thing. We'll wait until next year. We'll do that one. And they don't understand that Messiah is going to be a much harder sell. So it's like, it may have missed its shot. So that's very unfortunate. He can still get the director nom. I don't really see much else of the
I don't know. Considering how good the first two are, who knows how good Messiah could be? I mean,
I don't know. I think just subject matter wise, you're going to lose a lot of people just because it's already, some people have already complained. I'm looking at the anonymous ballots. There were already people that like, I don't understand what's going on. So I'm just not paying attention to it at all.
Or just some people were like, I have not sat through the first Dune and I am not going to vote for this next one. And I'm like, but you're going to sit through fucking the 3 hour and 30-minute.
You just have to put an intermission in. It'll work.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm pro intermissions now.
So, oh my God.
If Avatar doesn't have an intermission, I'm going to have a problem.
There's definitely not going to be a fucking intermission.
It's not. He was the one that was quoted as saying like, oh, well, what's the best time to pee? Whenever you want, because you're going to come back. I'm like, relax. Okay? I was like, I don't have enough time to give like 7 hours to you within a week of like, you have to go back and see the movie again. I'm like, no.
But if I mean, for me at least, I did go back. but the thing that I do find is just so strange about like even filmmakers like Martin Scorsese, who's like, no, you don't dare put an intermission in my 3.5 hour movie, and it's like, wait a minute,
if you plan on it, then it works. So
so there you go. But what would you say was your biggest?
I absolutely agree with Denis, but Challenger's score, like that's just baffling. It didn't happen at all. Like to not even get nominated, that's crazy. Challengers was such a fun movie. I really like coming out of it. I think the acting, the two guys canceled each other out, unfortunately. And like it was a great year for women, honestly. So then it was just the release date was hard to remember her by the end, which is unfortunate as well. One that's like not really a snub, but more of a shame on you idiots kind of thing for me. I've been saying this a lot is Wicked left money on the table. Because it is a normal thing to take a musical adaptation, make it a movie, and throw in a random original song just to get a nomination. They were dying to give Wicked more awards. And if they had just wrote one song, it would have easily won. Yeah. The lineup this year was very weak. The fact
I have to say, the song lineup was not very good this year.
It was terrible.
That's why we had Bond songs, because they're like, we're obviously not going to perform these. So that was just silly on their part. That was an easy award that they could have won, and they will be doing it for part 2. But I'm like, you knew you had the talent.
Yeah.
Why didn't you bother?
I mean, that whole opening number with Ariana and Cynthia was incredible. I mean, dear Lord.
Yes.
Like
shows exactly why the movie works.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus. I mean, it sounded even better there than in the movie. I would have, especially when
she didn't have to be flying around everywhere. She's like, I can just stand here and sing. Oh, this is
I can literally just stand here and show people I'm not faking this, like oh my God, just the sheer talent from both of them, just insane. Like they really struck gold with those two.
Yeah. And I'm so glad Wicked got production design. I know a lot of people like shit on the movie for like terrible lighting, but I'm like that production team. They did the work. You don't see it unless you look at the behind the scenes stuff, which is very unfortunate, but they did the work. So I was like, I was very happy.
That's kind of why I was on my ranking. I was happy to have lost on this, but I had that Wicked I had that Wicked was going to have best visual effects because
you're crazy.
I know.
I thought that it was possible. I thought it was possible.
Your Dune card. The popcorn bucket is now mine.
No. Yeah, as long as you don't take my poster, I'm all good.
Yeah, no, I was really happy to see Dune win both the sound and visual effects. It was so deserving.
Oh, absolutely. Like, honestly, just everything on my list. If Dune was on it, that would have been my pick.
I was like, there was only 5, but I was like, we could go 5 for 5. Come on.
But I would say probably my biggest snub of this year, just not getting any love whatsoever. And it was probably the best documentary that I'd seen last year was Superman. Like, it's super/man.
Super/man.
Yeah. And that's one of those things. It's playing on Max now. And it's one of those things where I got a coworker of mine to watch it over at work. And even she's like, well, I'm not the biggest fan of like Christopher Reeve or Superman or anything like that. And then as soon as she watches it, she comes over to me the next day and she's like,
Niagara Falls.
Yeah. She was like, I had no idea Diana Reeve was such a badass.
I did not. I was like, I had no idea. I love his wife so much. And it's just funny because it's a, like, granted, disclaimer, we did not see the other documentary here. And like, obviously, the winner would have won anyway, just given the political climate right now. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
For it to win. But it was funny not to see it because it's like, number one, it's a great movie. And number two, it's about an actor that everybody knows. And it's about like the comic book genre is still like a big talking point. So it would have been nice to go back and see. I feel if only like it'd come out next year.
Yeah.
Right ahead of Superman. Like that might have been putting it out there a little bit more. I don't know.
But honestly, Superman is going to clean up the Oscars next year. Sorry, Wicked too.
Sure.
But
yeah. Okay. All right, my guy.
I'm a believer.
Dude, I'm going to feel so heartbroken for you if you don't like this movie. Like, you're so excited.
He'll genuinely be in denial even if he doesn't.
I genuinely hope that you love this movie when it comes out, because I don't think I've ever seen you so excited for a movie.
Oh, yeah, no, even more excited than I was for Man of Steel. And Man of Steel, I was really excited for it. I remember everybody was like, are you okay, Andres? The second that I walked out, and I was like, I think I liked it.
Every time we go to the theater now, he's like, are we going to see the trailer? Because unlike the LA people that apparently it's been playing in front of everything. Have we seen it yet? We saw it once.
We saw it in front of Captain
America, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it hasn't been playing.
No, all I keep seeing is freaking Novocaine.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
guys, I heard
that. We've now seen, so we're good. I think we won't see that trailer yet now.
Yeah, no. Well, probably. We still got one more week because it officially comes out on Thursday. Yeah.
Well, if we go again this week, then we'll probably see one more.
At this point, I'm just expecting to see a trailer for Novocaine in front of Novocaine when I see it.
I mean, it reaches across all audiences, so I get it.
Wasn't there a movie that we just saw recently where we're like, we're here to see this not too long ago?
I don't know.
There was something that we saw. We were in the theater watching this movie, and then all of a sudden they played the trailer for it in front of it, and we're like, we're here to see this, guys. It was Craven. Yeah, they played the Craven trailer in front of Craven.
They even forgot what they were there for. Yeah, so Wicked was the most egregious for a long time because not only would it have the trailer, it would also have the like, please silence your cell phone stuff. So
that was there for a while.
No flirting.
Yeah, they loved using that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, I feel like Ceremony was nice, kind of smooth pacing wise. I mean, I wasn't really upset with too many of the winners. I mean, aside from the things we talked about, there wasn't really much else that bothered me. Like it, especially compared to like previous years, like I just felt like it didn't feel like a slog like it usually does, where it just feels like it lasts forever. So, I was pretty happy, all things considered. Any last remaining thoughts you guys want to get out there?
Please do it again, Conan.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Like, I know, like, he went through a lot of shit leading up to this. Like, both his parents passed away, and his house, he's literally not living at his house because of the fires and stuff. But, like, he came out and he did a great, respectful time of clearly he loves movies. And we haven't had that in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. That, like, people go out there like, oh, yeah, I got to sit through watching a movie. It's like, we love movies. So, like, the love was there throughout the ceremony. It was great.
Absolutely. And it wasn't as freaking cynical as like Jimmy, not Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
I've never been a big fan of Jimmy Kimmel. I understand the synergy there of, like, ABC.
I still don't understand how we as a country still tolerate what he does with Guillermo on a regular basis here and there. And I'm like, this is kind of fucked up, guys. Could we do we not see this?
Yeah, I think he does that. We've known each other for so long that it's like, this is our friendship. But I'm like, from the outside, it looks really weird.
Yeah, it looks really bad.
But yeah, I definitely thought it was a refreshing change of pace. And from what I read, the producers of the show would love to have him back. So I was like, absolutely. Yeah. I would love to see Conan be like maybe like a 2 to 3 timer here. Like I would love to see him host again.
Yeah, let's just hope he doesn't become, for lack of a better word, Billy Crystal, because that's what they started.
I'd be fine with it.
No, yeah, but I would totally. I liked Billy Crystal when he was hosting the Oscars, but the problem was that they kept going back to him over and over and over again.
Because he does a serviceable job.
He does a great job, but the thing is that like
charm goes a long way.
Yeah, but I think there has to be a year where you give him a break and you let him come up with new ideas.
That's more of it of like I don't want him to burn out.
Exactly.
That's the main thing. I was like I want him to be happy, so that's good. But quick shout out to Ben Stiller. That was a great physical comedy bit. Great thing.
The production design bit, love it.
Yeah, the production design bit because like he's like flying high right now between Severance, and I was actually surprised that someone didn't try to make a Severance joke about it. But yeah, that was really great to see him there because like that's his roots. Like he's very cerebral right now with Severance, but like that's his roots. It's nice to see.
Yeah, and it kind of just made me realize how much I miss seeing him in movies. You know, like he's still out there making them every once in a while, but obviously not to the degree he used to. But I would love to see him in like another big comedy again. I love that guy.
Oh yeah, put him back in Wes Anderson at this day and age. I feel like he's had that sensibility. Like his performance in Royal Tenenbaums is so good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to be shifting gears to our big movie of the week, and that is Mickey 17, which is the new sci-fi film from director Bong Joon-ho, stars Robert Pattinson. This one I'm excited to talk about with you guys because, you know, this one, it could have gone either way. It could have been a huge swing and a miss. It could have been a home run. It could have just been maybe like a double when you wanted a home run. So I'm definitely interested to see what you guys think. So we're going to talk about the movie generally first, but there's going to be some spoilers in this discussion. So if you haven't seen Mickey 17, you're going to want to steer clear of this episode until you do. Or if you just don't care about being spoiled, then you can continue listening or watching. That's your prerogative. But yeah, before we dive into big spoiler heavy territory, what did we generally think about Mickey 17?
I think walking into Mickey 17, I was really digging what the vibe was with the trailers and this sort of wacky sci-fi concept, almost like a Daffy Duck situation where it's like he just keeps dying over and over again, even to the point where he's now 17 and 18. Now he's dealing with himself. It feels very much sort of like Bong Joon-ho's Looney Tunes sketch that is now a 2-hour movie. But honestly, like, so I was so up for that. And having seen the movie, I think this is probably Bong Joon-ho's experimental post best picture winner type of movie because he could do whatever he wanted. And this feels exactly like what he's like, dude, I just had this idea. I'm going to make it as wacky and crazy as I possibly can. Does it fully connect together in certain areas? Not necessarily, but I love the fact that Warner Brothers got behind him and actually made the movie anyway, and that they let him work and do what he needed to do. And that essentially, it doesn't necessarily feel like they're hiding it, but it's more just like, no, they're carefully positioning it for, to have its own weekend more than anything else. But overall, I actually really enjoyed the movie in terms of Pattinson's performance and in terms of just the weirdness of the story, in terms of what happens in particular with the third act, where I know people complain about where the third act goes. I actually kind of found it a little refreshing that it didn't go down the typical let's kill all the bugs type of thing. And it went to more, for lack of a better word, cerebral moments with that. And actually I was like, oh, you know what? This kind of really does feel like a different take on the genre a little bit, or in terms of like, space exploration for the most part. But I think where the movie faults is sort of the tone at points gets like Bong Ho is really good at balancing certain tones between going from like being really funny and really serious at points. Whereas I feel in this one, he was kind of struggling a little bit here and there in terms of the subject matter, in terms of what he was showing us. But apart from that, overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the performances in it. I will say, as much as I did enjoy Mark Ruffalo's performance a little bit, it kind of felt like we got a little too much of him and Toni Collette playing Donald Trump and freaking Hillary Clinton. Come on, let's just be honest about that, guys. But overall, I felt like I really enjoyed the movie quite a bit.
All right, Jen, how are we feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm about the same because I wanted to love this. I was really excited about it. Like, I love whenever Pattinson's a little freak. And I love that he's gotten to the stage of his career that people like trust him with like just do whatever you want kind of thing. And all like the behind the scenes stuff, the promos and stuff with him and Bong, like they're really cute together. They're having a great time. So yeah, this is clearly another one for the Bong Hive, but it's not as meticulously planned and precise as Parasite was. I absolutely adore Parasite. That was fantastic. This is more, for me, it's like falling between Okja and Snowpiercer in terms of my enjoyment of, there are so many fantastic ideas and it looks great. Like the world is so fantastic. And the crux of Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 and Nasha, Naomi Aki or Ackle, which one was it?
I think it's Aki.
I think it's Aki, yeah.
The three of them, I absolutely adore. And like Andre said, it feels blasphemous to say, but I wanted less Ruffalo and Colette. Never said that in my life. I am always like, let's go. And we had a little bit less of them and more focusing on Pattinson and the Nasha's character. And even the character of Kai, the other soldier girl who, they were like starting to build something in there of like, this is a cool little idea. And it disappeared for like the back half of the movie. So I was a little sad. So Andres has told me there's like a 3-hour cut of this somewhere. Yes. And I would love to see that because there were so many great ideas. And I feel like it had to funnel down at the end. Like we got to get this going. So I definitely enjoyed it. I appreciate the tone was interesting. I love the humor of it. I feel like they could have pushed a little bit more. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, Pattinson is doing phenomenal work. Once again, he's like one of the most interesting actors of our generation. I'd love to see him and Chalamet in a project together.
Oof. They were in one together called The King.
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah, that's right. And
they were both little. He was a crazy little freak in that one too. Yeah. So yeah, like I want them like to do another one, more a modern day situation where they can really like let the personalities go. But yeah, like the two of them, I think we're gonna be seeing them like year after year after year, and I'm happy about it. So yeah, this is another win for the Bong Hive, but in terms of like awards and everything, I think we're getting passed over. No. But this is more of a blank check, have some fun, go do something crazy kind of movie, and I think he succeeded in that.
Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that he just kind of went for broke here. You know, like he had his best picture win. He's like you guys said, here's a blank check, go make something fun. You know, hopefully it's fun and weird, you know, and it just kind of felt like it was great to see Warner Brothers back him like this. And because we don't really see movies like this, especially on this scale anymore, just because it's a wild idea and it's, you know, it's original sci-fi. It's not based on some sort of, you know, previous, you know, installment in a franchise. I think it's based on some sort of book. I think
it's a manga.
I think it's based on a book. I think it's based on a novel.
I would guess the manga just the way that it is.
Yeah, right.
It does feel that way,
but apparently Bong Ho, he actually said that the book is actually titled Mickey 7. But he actually,
it's like, I want to reiterate how bad it is.
but that in terms of retitling the book, he was like, yeah, I added 10 more deaths in there because going from 17 to 18 is a big moment in anyone's life, and you start changing. Aww. So I was like, that's cool. A really great thing.
Cute.
Dang.
He's so smart.
Now I love the title of the movie even more. No, that's great, but. I feel pretty similarly to you guys, but I think I might have enjoyed it a little bit more. I think I definitely don't think it's perfect. I do have my issues with it, but I love the vibe of this thing. I mean, when I first saw the trailer for it, it was so drastically different than what I pictured in my head. Like I didn't expect that accent from Pattinson, 1, and 2. I didn't expect it to look like a comedy. I thought it was going to be much more serious and maybe dark and brooding. Like that's just kind of how like all the production images that we saw before that trailer kind of made it seem like it looked. I thought it was going to be way darker. So it was a refreshing change of pace to see that it was really just like this quirky sci-fi comedy, and I feel like it nails that vibe. And I also, love the whole exploration of kind of the toll it can take on your mind if you're dying again and again and again. And I think Pattinson is so good in this movie, not only as Mickey, making him this like lovable dweeb. I love him so much. But then he basically, I don't know if you caught this, Andres, but I kind of felt like Mickey 18 was his Bruce Wayne.
Yes, it was.
like there were times where like he was like screaming or something. I was like, oh, there's Batman.
Yeah.
Dinner.
No, but But then literally I was just like, oh, fuck, man, I want that sequel. Damn it. Anyway, back to the movie.
we're getting it at some point. Just Gunn, don't cancel it. All right.
Oh, it's definitely not. There's no way this gets canceled. The people want it so bad.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, anyway, he's so good in the movie. I think Naomi Aki's really strong. I love their whole central relationship. I think they fleshed it out a great deal, which is fantastic. I love seeing Stephen Yeun play just like a slime ball. Like I just like that was great.
He was in it a lot more than I expected. I was very happy about that.
Yeah, it was great. He's always just kind of like an underrated MVP whenever he shows up. I love him. And Tony Collette and Mark Ruffalo, they're just having so much fun. Like I love seeing them play off of each other. And I love this era of Mark Ruffalo. He's playing these like eccentric, despicable weirdos. Like I'm so here for it. Like especially after Poor Things and now this. Like I'm literally just like, give me more of this Ruffalo, because I think it's like he took a huge swing with Poor Things. It worked and he enjoyed it and he was nervous about it. But now that like those nerves are gone, it's like now he's just going for it. And I love seeing it.
He excels at being pathetic.
Oh God, yeah, very pathetic. But the interesting thing about Mickey 17 and Poor Things is that apparently he shot Mickey 17 first,
really,
and then did Poor Things because
I guess it's a warm up.
Because Poor Things feels like he's locked in more on it. This what felt more like he was still in the experimental phase of like trying to like exactly nail down what he's trying to do.
That's wild. Okay, wow.
Yeah. I mean, freaking Mickey 17. I mean, they shot the movie over 3 years ago by this point. Like, I remember it was actually supposed to come out in 2022, I think. And then the thing that ended up happening was when they announced the delay, they were like, "Oh, it's coming out in 2023 instead." And then they had like exactly what you were talking about, where they had a small little teaser of Mickey coming out of the printer, and it had dark and ominous music to it. Yeah. And I remember going, "Oh, I'm so seeing this."
It was like getting like the Tenet vibe, and it was like, "Oh, that's something interesting." And then instead you come out with Dean Martin. And I here's the thing, I like love that trailer. That might be why that I was like, oh, I guess I really enjoyed the trailer. And unfortunately, it didn't feel like it at the time, but it does give away a lot of like my favorite moments. So I was like, oh, that's probably why I'm having some trouble. So
yeah, and I also feel like they visually did them like, you know, the two Pattinsons. I felt like it was so seamless and so well done. Like you don't doubt it for a single second. And his performances are just so good in the movie. And I also felt like the visual effects and just the overall atmosphere and production design just fantastic. You know, like again, it's just seeing a movie like this on this scale is so refreshing. And that's why, you know, just like go to the theater, support movies like this so we get more movies like this. Like that's the whole point. Original sci-fi is hard to come by.
We had a good turnout, and we went to like a 12:30 showing too.
That's good. Like, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Good. Support original sci-fi people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like what were some of your favorite scenes in the movie? Like the scenes that like stand out to you?
I mean, the scene automatically that stands out to me is Pattinson screaming at himself, "You thanked him for dinner!" And just how many, he almost channeled Willem Dafoe in terms of like, he didn't care what face he was making at that point. He's like,
no, it's really fascinating to see because like early in his career, he was always like they were always casting him as the perfect pretty face and everything. And like it felt like whenever they did that to him, he would like go dead inside. And he's like, let me be a freak. I want to be ugly. I want to be like insane. And when he does that, it's really great to see. So.
Yeah, but that entire scene would probably be, I mean, also even including the dinner scene as well too.
Oh, I love the dinner scene.
One of my favorite scenes. I mean, just from starting from like a really big close up on that piece of meat that he was eating.
I hated it so much. I want to know what it was because it like in terms of like the practical effect of what was that? Like is it like an actual like liver that they put in like a dye or something? Because as soon as I like leaned over, I was like, that's raw. I'm like they're feeding him a raw steak.
And then with how much he's eating, and then all of a sudden he's like,
that was like SNL levels of vomit, like
SNL or more Steve-O levels of vomit.
Oh my God. Or the freaking doctor who keeps coming with like these new things he's experimenting with. It's like, yeah, we're trying it out. We'll see how it goes.
I love the fact that Ruffalo immediately just goes, all right, let's just put him out of his misery. And then the second that he's about to blow his brains out, Tony Collette is like, no, no, don't do it on the rug.
Yeah. So
it's like, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Better. Not quite dead yet. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's such a like a really layered scene, but it's hilarious. It's like it's exactly what I expect from a Bong Joon-ho movie. But I will say that everything else is just
a little flipperoni.
Yeah.
You gotta flip around his name a little bit. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, Bong Joon-ho. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, personally, like I was a huge fan of essentially like the backtracking montage of like Mickey kind of explaining. It's like, okay, so this is what happened, kind of thing. And I love the explanation for like why they're there and everything, and the fact that like you didn't read it. And it's like at first I assumed just the way that they were kind of treating him, particularly in like the cafeteria scene of like that random British guy that I've seen be a dick in multiple movies by now. He was like treating him like, oh, you're expendable like class. So in my mind, I was like, oh, there's like a bunch of these people. And in the end, I was like, no, it's just him. He's the only one that fell for it because he's an idiot. It's like, no, it's just him.
Which makes it even funnier because like you're the asshole that signed up.
Because like that was the thing when they introduced like him like being like they started with a macaron shop between him and Steven Yeun, and I'm like. When I saw it, I was like, wait, so how come Steven's like this pilot and he is an expendable? Because I'm like, clearly like kind of on the same plane, but it was like, no, I just didn't read. It's like, he's an idiot. But I particularly love the explanation for the flashback about why they have the rule about there can't be multiples. Because in my mind, I was like, that is kind of a weird rule. And then when they started going into it and they cast this actor that I swear to God must have been on purpose of he looks like Mark Zuckerberg before his like current midlife crisis mode. I'm like, he looks like him. So that was really funny for me. I was dying through that whole thing. So that personally was probably my favorite part because I was like, that's such a funny idea that's why. Like we couldn't possibly figure out between three people which one is guilty. So whatever.
Which one was guilty because one of them was the real guy. Yeah. One of them was the alibi.
Was like at a children's play that was like about like white blood cells and stuff. I was like, what is this? So when they showed that, like my mind went like really sinister. I'm like, what do you do to the kids? What do you do? Because he just had such a weird vibe. And they already said like, oh, he was a sociopath. I'm like, what is he doing with the children? Yeah. So I was like, no, he's doing the fake Mark Zuckerberg thing. He's like, I help people.
Oh my God. No, yeah, I thought that was a very cool explanation. I mean, really the only things that bothered me in the movie was that what was it, the Kai? What was her name?
Yeah, I think it was Kai.
Yeah, I felt like that whole like love triangle-esque like subplot was just it didn't need to be in the movie. And I just feel like her character ultimately, because they just abandoned her so quickly, it's just like, why is she in the movie? You know, just like, I just felt like it kind of like either commit to it and flesh it out or just excise it completely. Because it's just like, they forgot about her.
I was interested. Yeah. Like the love thing. Like that was more of a gag of like, oh, we'll share.
Yeah. I thought that's where they were going.
That was funny. But the thing that bothers me was like, they bring her in for the dinner scene. Mm-hmm. And we started going down a really interesting avenue because it's like she technically like she's one of the soldier class. She's more respected. She's a little bit higher in this class hierarchy, which is like the whole point of the movie is about the class hierarchy. And it was introducing a cool idea of like he's the expendable, but he has this weird chemical grown meat or whatever, and she has this beautiful gourmet plate and everything. And they start going down the whole conversation about like the birthing of the new plantation and stuff. And she starts being a little uppity of like, oh, I'm just a uterus to you kind of thing. And like, yes, it's like clearly we've seen the backstory of the implications of like she in a lesbian relationship with the other soldier that died and everything. Mm-hmm. But it's like, oh, that was an interesting little thing because she's a little bit higher in the class hierarchy compared to Mickey. And she has like the gall to stand up to these people. But at the same time, she's still at these fancy parties. And the minute that all started going crazy, she just kind of threw up her hands. And it's like, that does happen. Yeah. Of she's kind of like showing like, I'm a little bit higher in society. I like to state my opinions, but then in terms of actual action, didn't do shit, which is annoying that it's accurate. But at the same time, I would have liked to go down that a little bit more beyond that scene because as soon as that scene ended, she was just silent.
Yeah.
So, which probably the point because Bong's smart, but at the same time, a little annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just felt like they could have done more with her. And then honestly, like the third act of the movie, I just kind of felt like, I don't know, it didn't have the same level of appeal. I think the first 2 acts did. It felt a little bit more conventional to me, where it just kind of felt like, oh, it's the third act of a sci-fi film. It didn't feel like the kind of quirky sci-fi the first 2 acts were, and it wasn't as exciting as I think I thought it was. So I felt like that kind of was a little bit of a problem for me. But other than that, I really enjoyed the movie overall.
Yeah. I think when I was watching the trailers, I was so concerned with the fact of, is it going to turn into just that it's a bug hunt and the bugs are lethal to humans, so they're just going to start a war between each other. I was like, I've already seen this happen so many times, but I just love the fact that the creepers, that their whole
so cute.
Their whole motivation is literally, we just want the baby back. You took one of us away, but we just want that last one back. And I do love the sort of back and forth between the Mickeys and the Queen, if that makes sense. Of like, it was like, so what are you going to do if we don't give it to you?
I like that at that point, Mickey 18 was just kind of there. He's like, I don't know anymore, man. He's like, I don't know, I'm done.
It's like, listen, they're gonna like he absolutely went out there knowing, he's gonna press the button on both of us at some point.
It felt like he was like shuffling his feet, like, I guess we're gonna talk to the bug. I don't know. But yeah, like for me, I'm like the opposite, because I've seen that trailer so often, and they have the shot of Mickey 18 jumping with all the bugs and stuff, and I'm like, okay, so he's gonna be working with the bugs and everything, they're gonna go against him. And the thing is, now it's like more common trope of, because like that's what it is now, of like, I like that they did have the line, Obnoxious says the line of like, where are the aliens, you idiot, kind of thing. Of like, this is what it is, like, this is colonialism. The bugs are the good guys because they are the natives, and we're the colonists coming in trying to wipe them completely out. And they were very over the top on that. And the fun, well, like, it makes sense and it doesn't make sense at the same time, because the characters were like onto that at the beginning of like the third act. There were multiple people that were understanding of, oh, the bugs are like cool.
Yeah.
But they didn't do anything about it until like the very end, which again, Bong is smart. So he's like, that's what happens. People see bad things happening and they don't do anything about it because they think they have no power. So like, it makes sense, but it's frustrating. So yeah, and like it gets to the point where it's like the third act, I'm like, we know where this is gonna go. Like, come on, we've pretty much said it a couple of times. But yeah, I think that's where I'm having problems, because it's like, I get it. I understand that's the intent, but to sit down and have to sit through it, it's almost like it's frustrating me, because that's like real life implications that's also happening. So it might be why I'm having some trouble. I don't know.
Yeah.
And for the record, like, Bong has gone on record saying it clearly, we weren't doing, like, he's like, I wasn't doing Trump. He doesn't live here. He's an international person. Like, he draws from everywhere. But like, at the same time, it's like, Mark Ruffalo is very anti-Trump. So that is clearly what he's doing. So,
absolutely. But
yeah, I mean, it's eerily relevant when you're watching, especially when certain things go down. You're like, oh wow, this is crazy.
Well,
that was funny. I saw a tweet earlier today.
Yeah.
Someone pointed out of like, it's a little crazy, because this was filmed so long ago. It's like, it's a little weird that they had the guy get shot right in the cheek and be fine, and then go crazy off the handle. It's like, that was some Simpsons level of predictions.
That was crazy.
Yeah. but I do love the fact that that sort of the springboard for the third act comes from this ceremony of slicing the rock.
Yes, no, that was brilliant. I did love that, and I love that you got a little bit ahead of that too, of like, just when you saw them like bringing the stupid rock in and having the fight between the workers of like, it's not gonna fit, don't wreck my gate, kind of thing. Like, that was funny. Like, you got it, as a Massachusetts person, you would say they got starroed, because they were going in. But yeah, no, that was very funny. But that's the thing. Like, they're like, I love those little interactions from all these little outside characters. The like all the little doctors, the one that made the translator, the head doctor who was really funny, the weird little like kiss ass guy working for Ruffalo and Colette.
Oh, God.
Like, I want to see more from them, because it was like seemed so focused on just Mickey versus Ruffalo kind of situation. I'm like, it's more than that. It's a whole colony kind of thing.
Yeah, and I almost wonder how much of that was in the 3-hour edit that apparently was tested.
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't doubt that when the movie finally comes out on home video that there's going to be at least some extended cut.
I will happily watch an extended cut.
Yeah, but
I feel like the movie's a little too long, though. At least for me, it felt like it felt like it was like 15 minutes too long, especially when we get that like weird like dream sequence that I was just
about to say that
did not need to be in the movie at all. And like I felt like there was a logical place to end the movie, would have been fine. And then they go into that scene. I'm like, why are we watching this? Like, and it was just a bizarre way to end, like have the movie end.
Well, the other thing too is that like how much of that was set up in previous scenes that were excised, because we talked about this when we came out.
It would make so much sense to have dreamlike, weird nightmare sequences throughout, because Bong loves that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
number one, he does it really well. But the fact that like this is Mickey's 18th life, well, technically 17th because we're really seeing it from his perspective. So 17th life, he's had different personalities throughout, which we haven't really seen until 18's a thing. Yeah. So I would have loved to see more of that, of like the different personalities, and you get to let Penson go nuts. So I would have loved that. But it's like, it would have made sense to have these weird nightmare scenarios throughout, so that when you get there, it's already been set up of this is something Mickey experiences. The way it is right now, it's such a cop-out of like the studio being like, what a twist! And it's like, it's not a twist, it's nothing. So,
yeah.
I thought they were going to go down the road of like, you can actually clone people from like a little thing of blood or something like that. And then that was going to, and then there was a part of me that was a little confused with Kai's girlfriend at the very end in the ceremony.
I was like, that was very similar to
very similar. Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, did they clone her? I was like, did they clone her? Did they clone who died back again?
For and like half a second, when they started that dream sequence, I was like, oh, are we gonna do the thing we did in the stupid Stepford Wives remake of like, oh, Toni Collette was the real power behind the power kind of thing, which is very valid whenever they do that. And they were kind of doing that a little bit already, of she would always kind of like my big fat Greek wedding of that, the man is the head, but the woman is the neck and does whatever she wants. So like they were already setting that up, but I was like, oh, wouldn't that be cool if she's a person and he was expendable the whole time?
Oh,
because he seems like a dunce, as like he's about at the same level that Mickey is in terms of actual intelligence. Mickey clearly has more humanity to him. But yeah, I thought that's where we're going for a second, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it's like, no.
So, did they ever really explain why his personality was so drastically different with 18? Because it felt like all the other ones seemed like the exact same person, and then for all of a sudden 18's like this complete opposite. But I feel like they never explained why.
They did, because they were setting up that like he in his mind, when he like fell in the hole and everything, he's like, oh, they're just gonna reprint me tomorrow and everything, and he was already like done. It felt like they might have rushed the production on him, which maybe was a thing. But I know when it started, like I don't know if that's actually what happened, and who cares. But when it started and they were doing like the gag stuff, I think it was Mickey 17's loading thing where one of the lab techs, whatever, like tripped over the tube. And I was like, when it happened, I was like, oh, is this going to be like Mickey 17 is special because like he like didn't get enough of something and that makes him think more or something. But no, it's just no.
No, it's just a gag.
Just a gag.
That's the thing. There's a lot of like things I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be cool? But no.
Yeah, I feel like you were trying to think like 3 steps ahead when it's really just like Occam's razor. It's just,
Yeah, I think the movie is far more simpler than what we were expecting. But even still, at the end of the day, I think it's still a good time, though.
Yeah.
But
no, it still has a lot to say, and it's beautiful, and the performances are great. All hail Pattinson, and Bong is great. So like Bong, like good for him for pumping out something that I feel like he might have thought it's a little more like commercially viable than Parasite, but I think that he's wrong. I think Parasite probably felt like it was a harder sell, but I think across the board people liked it more, and I think that's going to be the case for this as well.
Absolutely.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah, I mean, what would you guys give it out of 5 pints? Final ratings. What are we feeling?
I think what are you doing? I think at the end of the day, I gave it a 3.5, but it's really like a 3.75. Really, on my letterbox it says 3.5, but it's a very appreciative 3.5.
Yeah,
you've heard it here, folks.
Doing your weird thing, both Bong and Pattinson. So. And Naomi Ackie is fantastic. She was fantastic in the film. I really liked her in Blink Twice last year.
Oh yeah,
I really liked that.
She was great. Yeah.
So I hope she gets more work. And roughly, you can like take it down a notch.
Yeah,
just a little.
I say keep hitting the gas.
Yeah. I really liked him in Poor Things. That's the thing. I really liked him in that one. But
oh yeah, he was hilarious. I mean, for me, I see a lot of the criticisms that this movie has been getting. I know there are people out there that really legitimately hate this movie, but I'm not one of them. I actually really enjoyed what they had here, but is there flaws? Yeah, absolutely. But everything that's there, like in terms of Pattinson's performance, everyone else's performance here and there are semblances of greatness. It just doesn't achieve that entirely, but it's so close to doing it. And here's the thing, even getting so close to greatness right now is still really good right now.
If this was like a brand new director, I'd be like, oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to see what they do next. But it's the fact that Parasite is like a perfect film. That's the problem for me.
And even freaking Snowpiercer for me is
perfect. No, I think if I had to rank them, Snowpiercer would still be above this for me.
Yeah,
I mean, unfortunate.
And the thing is, like, everyone goes, well, you shouldn't compare Snowpiercer with this movie, but I think
that's talking about the same thing.
Exactly, but the thing is that the political element in Snowpiercer was much more subtextual to a certain extent, whereas this one, it kind of feels like it's so overblown, but I felt like he had more to say in Snowpiercer and it was more concise.
I think it's also the fact that within the past 2 years and probably ongoing, like a lot of directors had the same kind of idea in terms of making commentary about current politics. So he wasn't the first one to come out with the movie. So it's like, it's just one of those things of it's going to start sounding like white noise every once. It's like, what are you going to do with it? So Snowpiercer was a little bit more interesting in the way that it handled it. So this was a lot more in your face, which is not my cup of tea usually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Instead of saying 3.75, I'm going to give it a 4.
Yeah. You paid.
Oh, that's the thing. I totally spaced. Yes. I gave it a 4.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page, Tom.
When I get to the end of the year, and like, who knows? Like, I'm trying to be a little more generous.
Yeah. I mean, right now, this movie is my number 2 of the year. My favorite movie so far is Companion. I feel like
Companion is a 4.
Yeah, and that also is a 4. I actually haven't given anything like a 4.5 or 5 yet. So like we're still early on, but honestly, I feel like this is still a really strong movie. Yeah, we talked about its problems, but like at the end of the day, it's still super entertaining. It's really well made, great performances. It's original sci-fi doing something fun in the genre, which we just don't get a ton of. And I had a really good time with it. So yeah, 4 out of 5, damn it.
I'm trying to be nicer to movies in like February after last year's Beekeeper. I felt bad because like I think I gave Beekeeper only like a 3, but then by the end of the year I was like,
Beekeeper's great.
I love Beekeeper. Why did I do that?
Are you not amped for a working man? I cannot wait for a working man.
Let's go.
We're probably going to end up reviewing that at some point.
Probably. I'm excited, man.
I'd rather review that than Snow White. Don't both of those come out on the same weekend? Actually,
I think Snow White comes out the weekend before.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. No, we were trying to figure out what else comes out in March. It's kind of barren wasteland other than Snow White, which is a barren wasteland in terms of creativity. So it's fine.
You can really tell that they have like no faith in it. There's barely been any marketing for this movie. Like I honestly like you wouldn't even know it's coming out, and it's this huge Disney live action movie.
To backtrack to Oscar talk, that was like the one piece of advertising I've seen in a while is they had the two of them present together, and I don't know what Rachel Zegler was doing, but she was walking real weird. I don't know if that was a silent protest, but she was walking really strangely next to Gal Gadot. So I don't know. I don't know about that. That's why we were conspiracy theory is that she was trying to make them look weird.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. But but you know what? Yeah. We've got a great summer ahead of us, and I can't
wait for like May. May on is going to be fantastic.
May is going to be great, but I think everything truly kicks off with Sinners next month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you say singers or sinners?
Sinners.
Singers. I'm like, this is a new one.
It's a musical.
No, I can't wait for that. But I'm also really excited. This week, there's a new Soderbergh movie that's coming out. It's been getting rave reviews called Black Bag with Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett.
Oh, is that on streaming?
No, it's going to be in theaters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotten like rave reviews, and like I'm looking forward to it. I feel like that could be like a underrated gem.
Yeah. And Presence came out.
Presence is my number 2. I really like that, so I'm all for that.
Presence was my number 3 until something bumped it. Novocaine.
You really like Novocaine? Go see Novocaine.
Yeah, go see Novocaine, people. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you thought of the Oscars, what you think of Mickey 17 if you got a chance to see it this weekend. Yeah, and thank you for tuning into a brand new episode of the show. We appreciate it. Jen, thanks for coming on yet again. Always great to have you as a guest. Andres, yeah, it's about the same. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, thank you for watching or listening to this episode, whatever way you happen to enjoy it. We appreciate it greatly. And thank you for tuning into a brand new episode of Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. But before we head on out, where can the people find you on the interwebs, guys?
Well, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Galaghost. You can also find me on twitch.tv as Galaghost88. And sorry, Galaghost 209. Sorry.
Oh, you blew that completely.
Jeez, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's that. And then also I'm the editor, of course. but yeah, you can also find me on the Higher Voltage Media channel on YouTube. And we've decided that we're going to do an underrated episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles very soon.
There's a re-release in theaters.
A 4K re-release coming out really soon. So there we go.
Wow.
Perfect time to do it. So yeah, that's exactly where you can find me.
You can find me, Jen Kempe, at JK Meme Queen on Twitter. I don't post, but I'm there doom scrolling. Twitter, Blue Sky, and most likely Letterboxd. That's the one place I actually post stuff right now. So yeah, and I was somewhat recently on an episode of Cinemojis with our friend David Jindoyan, doing the rom-com match against regular co-host. So I'm sitting in for Nancy and Peggy.
Yes.
And it's a fun time. It was a rematch from last year. So if you like rom-com movies or need a list of rom-com movies to watch, because a lot of the clues, we were like, haven't seen it. So if you need a list of movies to go see, go and watch that.
Love it. And as always, guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Chattelbash. You can find me on TikTok.
Tic-tac.
I thought you were making a joke. I was like,
oh. We all need one every episode.
Oh, yeah, you can find me on the old TikTok or TikTok.
You did it again.
No, that one was on purpose.
It's a Midwestern accent.
But you can find me on TikTok and Facebook at Chattelbash Reviews, and of course YouTube Chattelbash Reviews. And just thank you for tuning into a new episode of the show. This has been Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. Take care, guys.
Bye.